Hey Flosstube, I'm Misty Purcell. Welcome to my channel. Today is Sunday the 27th of May. It's Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope it's a long weekend for you and that you get lots of stitching in. So I'm back again because it's Mania, and I think this will be my last Mania video. So after this video, I'll go back to doing videos, I think, every other week for the summer. Unless I, decide to do more than that. But otherwise, that's what I'm planning. Thanks for hanging in with me and visiting with me all these weeks. It's been a fun experience and kind of an adventure to try to come up with videos every week. I guess I do actually have stuff to talk about. I kind of wondered if I would have stuff to talk about every week, but I managed to have things to talk about and share. So thank you for checking in with me faithfully and, leaving such nice comments for me. Thank you so much for your incredible response to my latest design release last week. I'm very grateful, and it was just amazing. So thank you so much. I ran out of charts and floss packs, so those should be coming back into stock this week. Probably Wednesday is when I'm expecting to have both come back in. And there was a mistake in the chart, in the key. I don't know how it got there. I think some little elves must have snuck in and got on my computer and were like, hey, how can we change this without her noticing? Because I tried to think of like how that mistake got there, and I can't figure it out. But anyway, I think most people that bought the chart have been notified at this point that the flagpole color was listed as a golden brown on the chart key. It was listed as 167 DMC, and it should have been DMC 433, which is a red brown. So it's just a different shade of brown. So that's the actual shade that I used, 433. Everyone should have been notified, I believe. But if you buy the pattern from your local shop through Hoffman, then the first batch of patterns that Hoffman has will have the old color that is not correct. So just a public service announcement. And I'll be putting that just so that there's a place for people to go to see that correction for now. I'll be putting that on the pattern listing, both in the digital description and in the printed description. So that if you ever need to check that, it's there. Okay, so let's talk about what I've been stitching. The same suspects as always, but a new suspect will be starting soon. So let's start with bees. I am stitching Where There Are Bees. This is my A Very Prairie Year Sal start for May. And it's coming along really well. It's a fast stitch. So I'm ready to start the bear. I'm quite looking forward to stitching him here. What can I say about this? Like, it's just fun. I'm enjoying it. I made some color changes. I talked about them in a previous video, so if you're curious about my color changes, it's a couple videos ago, I believe. This is stitched on 32 count Weeks Dye Works, and the color is called Linen. It's kind of a beigey pinky color. And this is just a nice fun stitch. It's stitching up pretty quickly, I think. And so I've been doing an experiment this week where I have tried a couple of days to do about an hour on each whip, and I've got 3 whips that I'm rotating. So that was interesting, and I liked it. I find that oftentimes I can't sit for 3 hours in the morning to stitch consecutively. Usually somewhere around hour 2, I start thinking about all the things I need to get done that day, and I just got to get up and start doing them. And then maybe in the afternoon I can kind of come back and spend another hour on whip number 3. So it makes me wonder about the 24 hours of cross stitch. I'm going to have to plan carefully my weekend so that I can actually, or maybe I just do work on it in chunks and do other stuff. I guess that doesn't really matter, right? By the way, the 24 hours of cross stitch is happening the second weekend, I think it is, in June. So Jen Lee just posted a video explaining about some other challenges that are available in June for stitching. But I want to say it's June 6th or 7th that the next take 3 of 24 hours of cross stitch is starting. So she has more information about that on her videos. So I'm looking forward to that. And haven't decided yet exactly what I'm doing that day. I guess we'll see as it gets closer. Okay, so I'm doing the A Very Prairie Year Sal, which I'll just quickly explain in case you're new. It's a stitch along that I'm doing with Helen and Barbie, and anyone can join in. We just kind of started it together. You pick any prairie schooler design that you want to stitch, and you start a new one every month if you want. You start it on whatever day you want, you pick whatever chart you want, you do whatever you want. So please join in if you'd like, and you can hashtag it A Very Prairie Year Sal if you want to share it on Instagram, for example. Birthday Start 2019 is coming along nicely. I'm not sure if I've shared a progress photo of this on Instagram in a while. Probably not. So I've moved the scroll rods down. I've been stitching some birds. This is still awesome. I'm loving it. So I've gone back to working on the border, and then I'll start filling in the house. The Weasley's house will be next after I get a little bit more progress on the border. So, man, I'm loving this, and I'm really loving it on the macchiato fabric. It's just match made in heaven. So this is my 40 count hand-dyed macchiato fabric, which is sometimes available in my Etsy shop. I'll be having more macchiato in my next update. And Birthday Start 2018 American Flag Quilt Sampler. I put in some time on this as well. This is stitched on 40 count soft ivory by Zweigart, so it's not hand dyed. And I'm stitching, this is kind of a, multi-year, decade-long stitch along, so if you ever want to join in, you can hashtag it AFQ SAL. AFQ stands for American Flag Quilt. So, let's talk about this. I started stitching the eyelets in the O. And I wasn't sure if I would enjoy, so I've only stitched eyelets like very infrequently, a few in my entire stitching career. I wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy stitching them just because I've hardly done them. But I really got into it, and I was like, oh, this is actually really fun and kind of fast compared to the rest of this thing. So I was grooving along on my eyelet stitches, and then I'd maybe made like 12 of them. This is 40 count. I'd made about 12 of them, and then I noticed that something wasn't lining up on here the way it was in the chart. Can you see where this is going? And I realized there are like these little square things here. There's supposed to be 5 of them, and I had stitched like 6. So I'd made every single column too long all the way across, and I'd stitched them up and down, not across, so that it would be really not easy to rip out if you did something like that. Yeah. So, let me tell you that ripping out eyelet stitches on 40 count is really not fun. So when I realized my mistake, I kind of panicked. I looked at the chart quickly and was like, can I just fudge it? And I wasn't really sure if I could, and I guess I just wasn't in the mood to try. Because I guess I could have spent more time contemplating that. But you've got the states coming here, and I just didn't know if it would look off balance if this part was too low and then these were too squished to that. I don't know. Again, I didn't spend a lot of time contemplating it. I was just like, do I want to throw this away and abandon this forever, or do I want to keep going? And my answer pretty quickly was no, I'm enjoying this, and I actually am really liking the eyelet stitching. I love this piece, and I'm not ready to throw it away for this kind of a mild disaster. So I couldn't leave it though, because I knew I'd already been stitching on this for like an hour that morning, and I did need to get up and do things, but I knew if I left it to be dealt with later that I would just not deal with it for a really long time probably. Like I would just dread it too much. So I went through, I don't know how I counted these wrong. I mean, how hard is it to count to 5? I did this last year, so I don't even know. It was summer. Like, I don't think I have a legitimate reason for making that mistake, but it just goes to show that I need to be more paranoid. So one of my goals for this year is to trust myself more. And I guess that rule should apply to everything but my own counting. So yes, trust your decisions more, trust your instincts, your intuition. But when it comes to your cross-stitch counting, do not trust that. Check it twice, thrice. Keep checking it. Because oh my gosh. So yeah, I had to rip out all of that and kind of try to fix it on the back, and ripping out 12 eyelet stitches was really not fun. But it took me about an hour, which is actually not as much as you might expect, to get rid of everything, get it all tidied up, and then I was ready to start over. So I left it at that point and did other things so that when I came back to it, I could deal. And I was actually excited to get back to it. I even got back to it later that day because I was enjoying the eyelet stitching so much. But I messaged Barbie and Helen on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did that. So that's my story about the giant flag and how it's been going. I still like it. We'll see how I feel about eyelet stitches by the time I'm done, but right now I'm feeling pretty good about them. And it kind of made me want to start vintage birds, because I have that chart, and I believe that the peacock has eyelet stitches for its feathers. And since I'm enjoying this so much, I'm like, I had planned to stitch it on 40 count, but you know, these are obviously not, I mean, you can see them now. So you can see them up close as eyelet stitches, but across the room, they just pretty much kind of look like cross stitches, I think, especially on 40 count. So now I'm questioning whether, does it matter? Like, am I going to really appreciate how pretty the floss is and those pretty stitches when I have it on display if I do it on 40 count? So I might, I mean, I'm not even starting this soon, right? Why am I thinking about this? But if I do start it soon, maybe I'll do some test stitches on like some scrap fabric and just see how it looks, to see if I should do it on a higher count or lower count, or if I should go with the 40. Okay, those are my 3 whips. I have a 4th one that I can't show you because it's my next design. So I've been doing pattern photography for a new design that's coming out later this summer, and I started stitching my next design, or my next design, and I've been enjoying that. I've stopped a few times and started over because the first time the border I realized was like too narrow, so I started over, and then I realized that the orange was just not right, so I started over. And like Goldilocks, it seems that the 3rd time is a charm, and I have the right size border, I have the right color for the border, and I'm kind of filling in different spots just to make sure the colors are going to work before I continue on. Okay, I think that's it for whips. So what are my plans? So I've been talking about starting a new project, and I guess my own design can count as a new project, but I wanted to stitch something else. So there's a Patriotic design called Freedom Crow, and I think I came across it either on, maybe on a Facebook group like Star Spangled Stitchers, or maybe the Prim Stitchers last year. And it's a design that's on Etsy as a PDF. And I'll link the shop in the description below the video so that you can find it if you also want to stitch this at some point. And I'm going to insert a photo here. So this chart's just been kind of on my mind for a while, and it looks pretty fast. So I just decided, like, okay, I'm starting it, and I might like put a stitch in tonight if I get my fabric done. I just started dyeing macchiato today so that I could have some fabric for it. So one of the reasons I haven't started anything is that I still haven't gotten scroll rods that I ordered, which is fine. I didn't expect them to like ship them out the next day. I just didn't quite know when I'd get them. But anyway, I'm thinking that maybe, so I don't really like the way that my stitches look if I'm doing the sewing method. But I was just doing it the other day to test something out on 40 count, and I thought it looked better than I expected. I have to be careful about using the sewing method because it can hurt my hands after a while, but I thought maybe like a small, not super involved project that's 40 count where I can just use one strand, maybe that would be the answer. So we'll see how it goes, but that's my plan. I'm going to stitch this design on 40 count macchiato, and I'm going to try the sewing method, and we'll see. I'm changing two of the colors. I'm changing the red and the blue because the blue is a bit grayer than I want, a little bit grayer. So I'm going to use 930, at least I think I'm going to. You know, I can't help myself, I'm always changing things. And for the red, it was a little bit oranger than what I wanted, so I'm going to do 3777, which is still kind of an orangish red, but it's just not as orange. And otherwise, I think I'm going to keep the colors the same. The only one I'm not sure about, this is the white in the flag. Now on the macchiato, this may actually show up better than what I'm potentially considering, which is a little bit whiter, the 3866. So I don't know, one or the other. We'll see when I get to that point. So it's definitely more of a muted piece, and I actually quite like, it's kind of autumnal. I quite like it. I like both like bright patriotic and also kind of a muted old looking patriotic. I like both. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm starting that tomorrow because it's Memorial Day. And then, so I'm going to, every year I go to a Memorial Day celebration in Boalsburg, Pennsylvania. And Boalsburg claims to be the birthplace of Memorial Day. And I know there's other places that claim that. So every year my friend and I go and listen to her boyfriend's band play, and we eat fair food, and we usually knit in the hot sun. And I'm not in the mood to knit anything really, and especially not anything big or woolen. So I was thinking, like, what do I want to make? Like, I don't really want to take cross stitch because I'm afraid that I'll like, we sit in the grass. I'm afraid I'll like lose my needle in the grass. And I'll be all like kind of sweaty. It'll be hot. It's gonna be like 80 tomorrow. So then I was thinking about it and I was like, I know what I should do. So I'm going to take, here, I'm gonna insert a picture here. I'm gonna take this doily. So last year, if you've been watching for a while or if you've binge watched, I made this ghost doily, which then Helen fell in love with, and I think her mom made her the ghost doily and the pumpkin doily, but I only managed the ghost doily, not the pumpkin doily. And now I'm making the pumpkin doily. So I'm taking the pumpkin doily with me tomorrow. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna have 2 starts tomorrow. I'm debating between more muted orange and in-your-face orange. I don't know. I could easily go either way and be happy, but I already have a doily, a pumpkin doily that's filet crochet that I made in this color. And so I'm tempted to do more of a bright orange. So we'll see. I don't know what'll happen, but probably this will happen. Also, in terms of my plans, I just got my frame back from the frame shop to frame Sally Spencer. So I will be stretching her soon. And then I plan to show you the finished object in my next video. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to put glass on because I'm a dusty person. And I'm looking forward to seeing her on display, cheering me on to stop putting things off. Yeah. Okay, haul. So one of my haul things was the crow design. Another haul thing was another design that's been on my wish list for probably about a year. And it's a Halloween design from GoodfloraStitchwort, and I'm going to insert a picture here. I think it's called Bubbel, or just Bubbel. So I finally decided that I needed that. I mean, I've always needed that, but I was just like, get out of my dreams and into my stash. Okay, it was finally time to get out of my dreams and into my stash. So that could happen at some point. I really think that's a cool design. I wish I had designed it. So I'll link that in case you're interested in looking for it. It's another one of the Etsy PDF digital download only charts. And then lastly, Helen and I were having a mind meld. So first I saw Robin, Magnolia Baby Creates, share this. I've been wanting this for a while, but then she shared this on Instagram. Me and my addiction to Bent Creek Halloween, right? This is the full thing. So it's 3-part. It's not a kit. It does come with buttons and snaps because it's a Halloween snapper branch. Is he a ninja? Is that like a little ninja band there? I don't know. But it's so cute. So Robin had it and I was like, dang it, I need that. Another get out of my dreams and into my stash moment. So I got it. And then Helen was like messaging Barbie and I, and she's like, I'm thinking about getting this weekend. And I was like, Helen, I have that. So Helen and I, great minds think alike. From the archives, I'm going to talk about, I was going to talk about one thing, but I think I'll save it for the next video. So I'm going to show something that I've shown before. I showed it last year. This is a punch needle piece that I did a couple of years ago, a couple of summers ago, 2 summers ago, in fact. Precisely 2. And this is a design by Michelle Palmer. This was my first punch needle project. I didn't really know what I was doing. I watched a couple of videos. I read a little bit about it, and then I did it. So you can see that you don't really need to know what you're doing to be able to do it. Like, it's that easy. Like falling off a log. This is all DMC. Michelle Palmer is like amazing with her use of color, so it all looks very painterly and like you're using variegated floss, but this is just DMC. And this one I did in a hoop, and after that I got a Morgan lap stand just because it was hard on my body holding that hoop and punching, hard on my hands. I really like punch needle. It is hard on my hands even with the lap stand, but I would like to do more. What else can I say about this? I think I drew it the wrong direction. I think it was supposed to be facing the other way, but you know, who cares? It doesn't matter. You do have to trace this onto your fabric. You just need like a light box, or you can do it on a window. This is weaver's cloth that I punched it on. And then I made this little funny little ruffle. I made it like way too complicated. I even sewed, like it's a completely finished edged ruffle because I'm insane. And then this, I just bought these little clips and then it hangs from a little hanger. So I can link this pattern to the, I can link to the Etsy listing for this pattern in the description below the video. Anything else I want to say about that? I don't know. It probably took me a couple of weeks of just working on it on and off. I think you could get it done faster, but you should, you know, if your hand starts hurting, take breaks. New in the shop, just a couple of things. Oh, just a reminder that I always forget to say this, but I have a newsletter. So if you want to be notified when I have fabric available in the shop, when I have new designs, etc., I usually send out a newsletter about once a month. And the link to my newsletter is below the video. If you have trouble signing up, just send me an email and I can add you. Just let me know. Okay, so a few things that are new in the shop. This just, you know, this was already, I own this and I feel like other people need to have this too. And man, I'd really like to start stitching this soon. Maybe if this like 40 count sewing method things works out. Although this is fancy floss and I think it would work better for me with DMC. Okay, maybe not. I'll have to have scroll rods. But I have 3 on order. This is by Cottage Garden Samplings. So cute. I had several other charts come in. I also got a restock on Pat's needles size 24 and 28. The distributor was out of size 26, so I'll be asking them when they'll get more of that. Another one that I've been admiring for a long time is this sweet pincushion by Heartstring Samplery. So I have some of these in my shop. And I was watching To Dye House, and Kathy was showing this chart, or this booklet, and I was thinking another mind meld because this had been on my mind, and I just ordered to order some for my shop. I think this design is so sweet, and I also love this beaded edging. I want to try to get a little bit more adventurous in my finishing and just try to stitch some designs where there's finishing that I haven't done before, so that I can learn some new things about how to finish designs. So probably going to be a multi-year lifelong challenge, but yeah. So I guess that's it for today. I hope that you're getting a lot of stitching in as May wraps up, if you're still doing Mania. I really enjoyed watching the Mania videos, and it's just such an exciting time, I think, every year. It's like cross stitchers Christmas or something when Mania comes. So I hope you have a great couple of weeks, that you get lots of stitching in, and I look forward to hanging out with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.